Welcome back, everybody. It's down to the final match. Trigger, really, I'm glad he got to shine here versus Nightmare. Because, you know, when you go up against Maru, it's like Maru might literally beat all other 11 players in the, you know, if he had faced them at this phase of the tournament. So, like, you don't really get an idea of where Trigger's at. You know, I know, you know, some people, they follow every StarCraft 2 tournament. Others, you know, they just follow the top ones. Others just follow GSL. So there are viewers out there that just don't know a lot about Trigger. I'm glad he went to go up against Nightmare and was able to show what he's got, show who he is, what he's got to offer. But now he's going back up against one of the other greatest players of all time.
Some people would say the greatest.
There are even casters out there who have said he is the GOAT. Not Cyril, not Maru.
Yeah. Not Nesty.
Not Nesty.
Not MVP.
Not MVP.
I mean, Rogue is one of the greatest of all time. There is no doubt about that. And he actually looked very good. Even the games against Maru, like game 1, he was just on the precipice of winning, couldn't close it out. Game number 2 caught a little bit off guard, maybe by the 8 racks for Maru, but still looking to be in good form. And so for Trigger now, final match of Group B. Can he be a legend of the game and advance to the round of 8? Let's get this series started.
Okay, Rogue in the bottom, Trigger in the top. Another PVZ for us here today. This probe is going to be coming down to do a hatchery block. And, you know, let's see what Trigger's got here in this matchup. I think that was a big confidence boost, the fact that he was able to take out Nightmare in that last game. He's clearly got very good PvP. By the way, a pretty nuanced PvP. It wasn't one where it's like, oh, he did this build and that loses to this or beats that. It was really like a lot of really smart decisions and good micro.
Oh, actually, Trigger and Rogue have played an online tournament before, and Trigger won 2-0.
Oh, really?
I wasn't aware of that.
You know, whenever there's a new player, in general, and I don't just cast GSL. Obviously, I've done other stuff overseas. But when it's like sometimes I'll get to a big international tournament. I'm like, well, I've seen this guy, but I actually personally haven't casted him yet. And he's against somebody that I'm really used to casting. I have a hard time trying to, map where they're at in my head when I cast, right? Like, but yeah, that's interesting. He's already beaten Rogue before. Let's see what he does now. Right now, he's using the probe here to basically make the drones bounce to other minerals. Yeah. Gonna slow him down just slightly.
I'm telling you, I always get shades of Huck watching Trigger. Like young Huck with just the little micro tricks. The control that he does. He's got that zest about him. I don't know what it is about Canadian Protoss players and doing all these funky tactics, but
Canada's actually had like it's funny, it's a really long history of really good Protoss players.
Really good RTS players in general, too.
Yeah, in general.
Scarlet's also just
But I mean, all the way back to the early days, XDS Gur was Canadian.
True.
Kiwi Kaki.
Oh, yeah. How could I
a lot of them French-Canadian, too, interestingly. Like, I feel like there were more French-Canadian top players than even just like regular Canadian. I'm like, it's like Coke. It's like Coke and Diet Coke over here. As I'm saying this, I realize this doesn't sound intelligent at all. But I guess not French Canadian players. Like, there's only been a couple regions in the world outside of Korea that aren't massive, like China. Like, you can always go, oh, there's great players in China. You go, yeah, there's a lot of people in China, right?
Right.
But like, there's a couple regions in the world where you do see exceptional players. Like, one is Poland. I've always been stunned by how many good. There's just a lot of good Polish players all the way back into StarCraft 1. You could look up the brackets for like Net Cafe tournaments, and there were like so many good people that would sign up. Eastern Canada as well. Like a lot of good RTS players coming out of there. Actually, what part of Canada is Trigger from?
I don't know exactly.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Taste. Look at it. Oh, look at it. We're using the Healing Zone. It's happening.
We're going.
For the first time in GSL history.
Yes. the maps are getting better.
I love how he healed it like 2 ticks and then didn't
He's like, I gotta stay active. I gotta get value.
Yeah, that is cool. I don't know exactly how many maps in the current pool have the healing zone in it, but I just love these features getting added. I actually didn't realize that Persephone had a healing zone for a long time because I was like playing this game on the ladder, and I was just like all-inning everybody, and I was like, wait, actually, if I want to win the map, this probably isn't what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But
I think that healing zone, by the way, is going to play a huge role in TVZ, by the way.
oh yeah.
If you're pushing, and you can just like stim and fight and then just go back and heal.
Hold that thought's aceless. Oh no,
What's
as soon as they leave the wall.
Perfect surround on the
If
adept.
only
No way to
Trigger
shade
had
away.
a Spore Crawler,
Yeah,
this
no.
wouldn't have happened.
Spore Door also runs into your own base.
Oh. This is like a heart-sinking moment here for Trigger. It just
Well,
feels so bad.
You know, we were talking about like the 2 adepts that get in your main and kill all your probes. Like this is another one thing that can happen where it's like, oh, it's just bad. Lings being in your base, running around killing workers is a painful StarCraft experience as old as the game, as old as the franchise itself.
I mean, the really sad thing about that too is that Trigger had the adept that was going to finish the wall in again, like moving from the main base ramp to the natural expansion.
Yeah.
But Rogue just with that Overlord's like, well, no, I see you moving. I know I have at least 1 or 2 seconds I can get in there. That's painful. I feel for Trigger a little bit. Now, luckily, this shade is going to pop, so these adepts, even though they get surrounded, aren't going to take too much damage. We'll be able to retreat back. But anytime. Oh, no, not again. All right, we're safe. We're safe. I always get a little bit nervous when I see cybernetics cores and gateways in the Wallen like that. If we get another shot of Trigger's natural expansion, those Wallens always really stress me out because even though they're both 3x3 structures, the gateway and the cybernetics core, the hitbox on the cybernetics core is a little bit smaller. And I find usually it's those Wallens with the cyber core as the gateway, or the cyber core is the entrance to the base.
Yeah.
Where like the Lings can barely shimmy past the
Right.
Adept or the Zealot. Like that's where all the really bad shenanigans happen.
Oh God.
Oh no.
This could be one of these games where it's like just really good harassed by Rogue.
Yeah, look, exactly like this. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The Stalker, if that was a gateway instead of cybernetics core, they probably do not get in.
Yeah.
It always stresses me out.
Oh man. I mean, that's 3 more probe kills and Stalkers picked off.
I mean, like, that's been on hold position, that Stalker. It looks like it's a defined spot, but just the hitbox is, like you said, they're slippery, like the Hellions trying to get past Rogue before, and he had that body block with the Queens.
No,
it's
just,
the same
it's weird
thing here.
Specifically with the StarCraft 2 engine, and I'm probably not going to be able to articulate this well, but I can try. It's like, it seems like it won't fit in, but like somehow it'll like vibrate through it.
A little bit,
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
I feel like
you see
actually,
like a force field that like shuts and it's like nothing can get through, and then you see like Zerglings start to like wiggle around and they go like, and they just fit through.
I'm dating myself a little bit with this, but I vaguely remember, and I could just be wrong, I could just be imagining this, but I vaguely remember there being an issue before where if there was like a Zealot or an Adept in the Wallen, if you use like the rapid fire move command for the Zerglings basically right on the Adept or Zealot, it would push it. And I feel like that got patched out, but yeah, there is like a little bit of shakiness in terms of movement just because honestly the engine is so smooth and so streamlined, it's almost like everything is buttery, you know?
Yeah, everything's very oily like in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it feels fine to control, but it's specifically when the units are like in contact with each other. It's so different from an RCS like Warcraft 3, for instance, another historic StarCraft 2 RCS where, hold on,
God, here we go.
So many
3 of
Lings.
Link surrounds.
No, this
my
is like
God.
1 Stalker and like 2 Adepts are going to survive that.
Yeah.
This is so painful.
You know, the funny thing is like most games are kind of talking about like what ideas are at play here, but this is just like Rogue with great guerrilla tactics, trapping Trigger or getting good run-bys.
He just keeps doing these judo moves with these Lings.
Yeah.
I mean, it basically
Oh,
all
you call
goes...
it judo?
They basically
It's
all
like a
goes
mix
back.
between judo and voodoo. It's judo. Like,
Yeah, what am I talking about? But,
another judo move in here.
Another judo move.
He's got a black belt in judo.
Yeah, he's got a little doll. He's putting needles in it right now. I didn't even realize I misspoke there for a second. Good catch. But there are Phoenix as a response here to the mutas, but there's been so much momentum built by Rogue with the Lings and then the mutas now coming in. Like 20 probes have fallen. This is... I mean, the game has just been kind of running away from Trigger for a long time here. He's doing a much better job than most Protoss players would be at stabilizing in this kind of situation, but 82 drones, 22 SCVs just fell, so Rogue's hit 50 workers. Magic Box even coming in on one of those Archons. Lings almost got that second Archon below ground too. Oh.
Now the Oracles are going to go down. This game has been kind of a train wreck, to be honest.
It all goes back to that first game.
Yeah.
With the Lings getting into the main
It was when he got Judo flipped.
Yeah.
GG.
All
right.
That's painful because we just saw Trigger play so well against Nightmare. I mean, his ceiling is so far above this.
Yeah, you know, Rogue just kind of got to run away with that game.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just, I'm sure we've all been in games where we're playing and it's like, oh, I just ran into your like medevac, you just killed 2 medevac. You know what I mean? Oh, there's a unit out here, I'll kill this. Okay, like I don't know what's going on, but as long as I'm active.
This was like me in every game versus No Regret for a couple of years. Where, like, this guy like never goes layer, he just has Lings and Banelings and somehow he finds the opening. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah. I'm like, I think I'm not allowed to leave my base against this player. I've definitely had that. Like anytime I get on the map, like, oh, he killed me again. Okay, guys. Well, we're gonna go to Pylon.
Well, that is a Protoss map, right? So
that
you should have the advantage.
This whole map will power Trigger's base.
Can you imagine? The entire thing's just like a fast warping field.
Yeah. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids of StarCraft. It's just, you know, units running around on a giant pylon.
Yeah. I'm a little bit sad so far, by the way, these first 2 groups. We haven't gotten to see a lot of the maps of this map pool. It's been kind of the same 4 or 5 maps getting rotated through all these best of 3s. Seen Persephone a lot, seen Pylon or not, Maganatha. All right, guys, Rogue versus Trigger. Rogue up 1-0 in this best of 3. If he wins, he goes on to the round of 8. Trigger fighting for his GSL life right now. Can he tie it up here on Pylon?
All right. Rogue in the bottom right, Trigger in the top left. I hope we have a cleaner game from Trigger. That really, there's not a whole lot else to say, but that like he just kept getting blindsided by attacks, and you know that happens enough. It doesn't really matter what your what your game understanding is, or you know what the tech tree you're trying to build into is. It's like, well, you're just going to be killed.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that for a Protoss player, especially at Trigger's level, that doesn't happen very often, right? When you're practicing maybe 90-95% of your games, you're never going to have 6-8 Lings getting your main base and completely just kneecap your build.
Fans from Russia, excellent.
Wow, a long way coming over. Welcome, welcome. But to get back to that, in a high-stakes environment like GSL, like Trigger literally 2 maps away from round of 8. This is huge. Like he said that he's been dreaming about competing in GSL. Finally, he's here. He's qualified. He's living in Korea. He is so close to that round of 8, going up against a legend in Rogue. And you want your build to be exactly as practiced, but as soon as those 6-8 Lings get in your main base, even though it seems like it's a relatively small thing, like, yeah, you're losing probe time, you're losing a couple workers, but it shouldn't decide the game, right? But suddenly, all of that practice, it goes a little bit out of the window, because now your tech transition is 5 or 6 seconds late. If you're using your supply as, like, the benchmark, the yardstick for when you want to do X, Y, or Z in your build order, now it's off a little bit. It adds a lot of almost like static to the TV in terms of what you want to do, and it makes everything feel really fuzzy. And that often leads to situations where suddenly you need to think more.
Yeah.
And I know that might sound unnatural. Like, of course, you're playing an RTS. This is one of the most complicated strategy games of all time. You need to think all the time, but these builds have been reiterated on so much. There's been so much practice that for the majority of the game, especially in the early game, it's almost instinct.
Yeah.
It is not deep thought besides like maybe the build order plan. The actual execution is instinct, but when you get thrown off like that, you have to go back to, wait, okay, how do I get back to the game plan originally? And then suddenly you have a lapse in judgment, more Lings get in your base, you're getting stalkers in the depths surrounded because you're a little bit frayed in your thought process, and it snowballs so quickly. I mean, the mental aspect of Rogue getting 6 or 8 Lings in your base.
Getting Lings in your base, it's like maybe
traumatic.
one of the worst feelings ever. Like when I'm in an important match and Lings get in my base, and I'm like,
it's the kind of thing
so annoying.
It's the kind of thing that as a Protoss player you will have nightmares about.
Well, the thing is, because you know you're just never. It's like people go, "What happens when they put lings in my base?" I'm like, never let that happen.
Yeah, you just don't.
The answer is never ever be in a position. So when they get in there, you go, "Oh God." Now I have to just try my best to micro and do my build right, and you know,
it just makes everything so much harder to execute. And it's such a small thing, but it has such a big impact, and especially again in an environment like Trigger competing here. By the way, energy recharge on the Oracle, 154 energy tasteless.
Let's go!
I love that so much. I wish we were seeing a little bit more of this so far in GSL, but I guess at the pro level, it's still
I think they're
niche, the use cases.
Yeah, they've got their habits. This,
more lings coming around the map. The second Oracle isn't done just yet, so this is definitely going to have to sacrifice itself to allow that Nexus to build up enough HP that it will not get denied, but that means that...
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah. I mean, this time, it should be all right. We do have the Oracle coming in here. We're not going to lose that much mining time. I would be surprised if Trigger even lost a probe to this. So, he might lose that one.
What about that one, State?
It's all right.
Apology accepted. 14 more lings are being made, by the way.
Please.
No!
It's all right.
Man.
It's all right. We're going to be okay. Positive mindset.
Is that double forge? No, that's one forge. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Forge Twilight.
Oh
my goodness,
my
I did not even notice this. 3 queens walking across the map. We're on 35 drones right now for Rogue. He's been pumping lings this entire time. And those oracles, yeah, you did have energy recharge, but they're still pretty low on energy after that. 3 queens do beat 2 oracles. Oh no, what a disaster here for Trigger. 3 ups in total on the map. We do have 2 gateways, so more orphans can come in, but because that probe got sniped, didn't even have an opportunity to throw down a shield battery here at this third base. And 22 more lings in production, and with only 2 oracles, again, he cannot contest these queens on the ground. The third base, I think, is basically just forfeit.
I mean, is this game going to go on much longer? I don't know. I don't feel like it.
I think it will, but Trigger is now playing from behind. He needs to find something, and this is a good opportunity. There's only 1 queen. The Spore Crawler is not done yet. How much damage can he get done? A lot of drones going down already. Keep in mind, Rogue was already on a pretty low worker count. Trigger even sacrificing one of these oracles just to try and stop him bleeding a little bit economically. He does have the worker lead.
I never appreciated the range advantage the queens have on Adept until this moment.
Yeah, queens are busted.
Yeah, they're pretty good units.
I've been thinking these are busted since Benicio was my teammate, like 2012.
Oh
no! Rogue behind all of this, equalizing right now in the worker counts. For Trigger, this is almost a situation where, like, do you kill your own gateway to try and get a better arc over here? And these queens eventually are going to fall, but the third base is so delayed here for Trigger. Rogue, he lost drones, but he didn't lose a hatchery, so he's able to just do a couple of rounds of worker units, and look at that, he's already made up a ton of ground. 53 drones to 50 workers, the saturation's gonna be better. And he's teched up in the Hydras. And he knows exactly what's going on here for Trigger. Blink not done just yet, so these things can get us around. At least a couple of these Stalkers are going to go down. Oh, Blink, man, if it was 3 seconds faster, I don't think Trigger loses a single Stalker there.
It's like literally perfectly timed out. 16 more lings coming right now, and Hydra's on the way. And, you know, the game is fairly simple from the perspective of Rogue. What he wants to do is just wait for this Nexus to be close to finishing, or maybe it finishes, and he just goes in and smashes it again.
Right.
When you can keep your opponent oppressed as far as bases, you don't really have to do a whole lot more. You kill it. You don't have to try to overextend and end the game. You just go, all right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to expand more. I'm going to get more upgrades, and I'm going to come in with another big blow.
Yeah, what makes it even more painful here for Trigger is that usually when you play this Link Stalker heavy style that Hero popularized a long time ago when he basically revolutionized the PvZ matchup. Oh, that does. Really nice micro here from Trigger. He's getting so much value. Stalker's now done. Oh, big blink back. And link count is thin enough that Trigger should be able to retreat with a lot of these Stalkers. And his control with Link Stalkers is so good, honestly.
Yeah, he's got really nasty control, but okay, yeah, he's going to push him back.
I think Rogue is surprised at how good his
I think Rogue thought he was going
to
force win there, and it's like, ooh, actually, this guy's pretty good.
I mean, that was... Trigger is basically drinking water from a stone. This is just incredible.
Yeah.
Because usually in a situation like this one, when you play this hero style, you kind of need the Oracles to try and anchor the Stalkers to help deal with the Lings, but somehow Trigger is just finding these trades. No, Hydra Ling on paper, very good in a Blink Stalkers, but Trigger has just the right amount, and he's hitting at just the right moment, where Rogue doesn't have the critical mass that he needs to, say, get us around with the Lings.
Right.
And mess up the attack AI on the Stalkers, or have enough Hydras to really dish out the damage and punish those Stalkers. And I mean, look at the units lost. It has been brutal for Trigger, but that was like 130 units lost, mostly Lings there for Rogue to the 32 of Trigger. And behind all of that, Rogue couldn't make a drone. The Stalkers were pushing him. Trigger has a worker lead again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, do not write this kid off. His control is so good.
Now, the problem when you fight Hydras with Stalkers is there's not a whole lot you can kind of do. You know, they're much better versus melee units, but the Stalkers got a lot of damage output.
Yeah, there isn't really a lot to support the Hydras here for Rogue. It's just pure Hydralisk, and the Stalkers don't do that bad against them.
You can see there's been a creep highway that's been paved halfway across the map.
Trigger has almost brought this one back.
Yeah, no, it's
so
pretty
impressed.
crazy. It's super impressive.
Army values effectively equal. Trigger ahead in workers, and Rogue is still not droning. He's making more Hydras. Trigger, if he can get up to Storm, the first Templar is already on the field. Storm is starting to research. More drones are being produced now, but for Rogue, trying to go into Lurker Tech, yes, he is on 6 gases at this point, but on 58 drones, it's going to take, I feel like, a couple more rounds of workers to really have the economy to sustain a Lurker count that is substantial against the army that Trigger has. If this is Trigger, if Trigger can perform this well, given how bad the early game went for him, I am worried for Rogue if Trigger can somehow equalize this, because this is some impressive BBZ.
This is great.
So much of it comes down just the pure Blink Stalker control.
I mean, Trigger might have some of the best micro in StarCraft 2 right now. Yes. Like, he looks so good.
His Blink Stalker control especially.
Yeah, specifically that. Well, he's going to try to do a shove in here with Lurkers. Nice Storm.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
On creep, too.
And, you know, as this is going on, Trigger's just expanding adjacent to this position. So, I mean, Rogue's not stopping anything with what's happening right now.
Yeah, these Lurkers, by the way, they do not have the range upgrade.
Yeah.
Air Tech Lurkers and Hive Tech Lurkers with the full upgrades, two totally different beasts. There is an opportunity here for Trigger to get something done against that army. Oh, another money Storm. A lot of Hydras going down. Yeah, Rogue, he's only on what, like 70 drones at this point? The Hive Tech is about halfway done. So Lurker range is a long ways away. Trigger already starting the second Stargate, I believe, as well as the fleet being, and I think we got a glimpse of that there on the production tab for a moment. Perhaps already done.
I mean, Trigger's kind of persevering through this.
It is.
It's looking
wow,
really good. Whoa,
look at
whoa,
that!
whoa, whoa, nicely
Man,
done.
the instinct from Trigger. He sees the unburrow there from the Lurker. He immediately blinks on top. He's like, you know what, I can take this one free. He's just getting maximum value in all these. Oh, going for the surround. 2 Storms right now on this army. Only 1 left now. Trigger trying to get multiple angles over here. Mothership in production.
I don't really get what the plan is here with Rogue.
I think that he thought he was so far ahead,
yeah,
he could just kill him. And
yeah,
he sat
maybe
on,
you're
what,
right.
like 56 drones or something like that for a long time. And then the Blink Stalkers just got so much value. And again, there's still no range on these Lurkers.
Yeah.
Trigger can do these moves. He can click the Lurkers with the Observer Vision. He could check the range, be like, you know what, you still don't have it. I'm going to blink over here. I'm going to pick off 2 more Lurkers. These are very expensive Zerg units. I am so impressed with how well he has been able to come back in this game. It is not over by any means. Trigger trying to find another angle. Finally, Lurker range is done, and that changes the math a little bit here. Suddenly, Trigger now on the ground is going to have a much harder time taking favorable engagements against Rogue.
Nice warp in there, trapping those Lings in, getting the kills. Almost maxing out on both sides.
5 more Lurkers in production. How many Lurkers
So
is this on the
does he just want to, like, basically lock them out of part of the map. This is actually an old StarCraft 1 strategy, by the way.
This is many lurkers.
So the idea from the this was like, year 2 or 3 of StarCraft 1, but basically you'd like lurker contain them. And it's just impossible to get across. And now we have it very rarely in ASL, but we will have games where they just turtle with lurkers. And it seems almost like he wants to just cut off the map. It's like if you're going to come through here, you have to hack and saw your way through so much damage. Big attack coming up here on this base, by the way. I don't know if Rogue is too late on attacking this expansion. I guess we're going to see in a sec.
The lurkers are just in range of that Nexus, and the SimCity actually makes it very hard here for Trigger to find the right angle. There aren't a lot of support units for the lurkers, but I don't even know if he needs them right now. I mean, there's 20 lurkers. Wait, 17 right here.
Oh my God,
okay, Trigger's coming in. No meat shield. Actually, the Zealot's pulling a lot of the aggro there from the lurkers on the left side. They retarget onto the Immortals. 3 Immortals die in one volley. If Rogue hadn't re-microed those lurkers and retargeted them, I think Trigger might have been able to eject him from this position. Instead, it's a relatively even trade. Trigger trying to do what feels like almost impossible with a mostly Gateway army. Push high-tech lurkers back. Only one Tempest here to whittle away at the Zerg Force. The Hydra's microing forward, barely not getting that Mothership. They get it! Right at the edge of the range. And this base, I think it's going down, Tasteless.
I love what Rogue's showing us here. This is so fresh.
It is such a lurker-heavy style.
Yeah, he just sort of gets a position, and then he, it's basically like a TVZ push. Lurkers are the tanks, and then and he gets such a number that like the damage spread when you walk in, it's like it just obliterates everything. And then the Hydras are kind of like Marines, weirdly.
Is Rogue the best Terran player?
I think he is, man.
But no, it almost felt like he was flying a little bit too close to the... Oh, we got the the speed boost coming in from the Hydras. Very rare we see that tech come in.
Yeah.
One of those new abilities. Rogue just trying to get every value he can. Man, they are speedy when they lunge. That was like a jump scare, man. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Well, Trigger, he hasn't been able to re-expand to the 12 o'clock position. He has been effectively reset to what is almost a one base economy. About 800 minerals per minute because the natural expansion effectively mined out. The main base is mined out. Rogue on 5 bases right now, really firing on all cylinders, and he's gonna come in again here. Really nice storms in that choke point.
Now this has always been a place that he's had a hard time pushing through, but I love the 2 lurkers on the side just to take out some probes. I don't even know if Trigger's noticed yet. Okay, he does. He pulls away.
The army supply is still very even, 115 to 86.
Yeah, very true.
And the bank for Rogue, there isn't too much yet. Oh, this is so scrappy. These probes just distance mining over here from the 12 o'clock base. Mothership being reproduced. Another lurker falls here. Oh, Trigger, if he can snipe this base with a high-yield Vespian Geyser, that will be huge for him. He's going to come in. I think he should be able to take this hatchery out. Lurker's burrowing over there on the top right side. Trigger now, with the Tempest count that he has, he basically has an answer to lurkers. He can start trading effectively with them again, as long as he doesn't get caught out of position. We went from, I think, almost 20 lurkers earlier in the game, all the way down now to 18, and Rogue has basically no gas left. He's making 3 more lurkers. He's adding in 4 Corruptors. Yes, he does have enough Corruptors to take out all these Tempests if he gets on top of them, but there are so many Archons on the ground to assist that there is a world where Trigger is able to stabilize. I mean, the chip damage is starting to add up here on these lurkers.
It's going to be an uphill fight for sure, but yeah, I mean, the lurkers are getting a lot squishier.
That's a good engagement there from Trigger. 2 on the right side, just basically pure Immortal Archon Templar.
This really does go to show you, like, lurker Hydra's strong, but it's kind of hard to force a game to at the end, right?
You need the Vipers.
Yeah, you need
the Abducts, I think. Oh, Time Warp coming in the lurkers. They're a lot weaker now. But he doesn't have the units on the ground.
Oh my God,
really
he's going to come in here from the side, though.
Archon's taking out a lot of these Corruptors. Some really good splash damage being dealt, but I feel like Rogue might have a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Those lurkers in a impenetrable position here on the top side of the Nexus. Coming with this round is Trigger, but so much damage already being done. No detection. The Observer got sniped.
Yeah, and this Nexus is marooned over here. Now he can just send the lurkers here. Yeah, I think we're at the GG moment.
if Trigger had detection, maybe he would have been able to stabilize here in this fight. Finally now, 2 observers have been remade.
GG, wow.
Wow.
Wow, 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 wow.
I mean, Rogue going to advance with some really impressive PvZ games, but for Trigger, given this is his GSL debut, his first time on the GSL stage, he played so well, especially in that game number 2 against Rogue. It was a dismal early game. He was looking like he had the uphill battle of all uphill battles, and he almost brought it back. That was sheer control. He almost brought it back.
I'm really happy that we've got to see Trigger here and what he's got to offer. And don't forget, guys, GSL Season 2 is just around the corner when we finish this one, so he could very well be back in. Yeah.
We might be seeing him again in GSL Season 2, and I would personally love to see it.
Yeah.
It's no mystery why he qualified for GSL after seeing him play in games like that. All right, guys, we are going to have an interview with second place Rogue. Rogue, congratulations on your victory. In the winner's match, you lost against Maru. And then you were able to come back against Protoss. How do you feel about your performance today? Well, coming into today, I kind of thought that today might be pretty easy. And I was even expecting to potentially come out of this group in first place, but Maru actually was very strong today. So, well, what happened? What went wrong, do you think, in your first match against Maru? Well, the game basically felt like it was going to plan. So I felt like it was a must-win scenario because things were going to plan. Actually, I actually missed the second part. Apparently, things eventually got derailed. Well, your performance here against Protoss was actually very good, Rogue. Now, later on, you might be playing against either Hero or Classic in the round of 8. How are you feeling against those players? Well, you know, in practice, I honestly feel like I cannot beat Hero. So, if I want to advance to the quarterfinals, and if I'm in the same group as Hero, I feel like I might have to be gunning for second place. Well, you know, Rogue, we did have a very long off-season. There's some questions about the form of all of your players. How is your condition currently? Well, you know, I've been practicing really hard for this GSL, and I think if I can keep up this practice, I will be able to get back to full form in no time. And now some words from Rogue saying, you know, he's very happy to move on into the round of 8, and he's got his eyes set on advancing into the quarterfinals. And he's going to try and do even better next time, Tasteless.
Damn, he even said Tasteless in the end like that?
He did.
That's pretty cool.
He called you out.
He called me out.
I gotta say, after not doing GSL for like almost a year, it is really hard to do these interviews.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, I actually forgot. I totally blanked on this aspect of the show.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Maru and Rogue, in my opinion, certainly the favorites to advance in this group. They do advance in Group B, but we did have some really good showings. I feel like Nightmare didn't play up to his performance. We've seen better games from him in the past, but Trigger really impressing with his win versus Nightmare, and even in his matches against Rogue there, looked very good in PvZ. He got derailed quite early on in both of those sets, and he still made Rogue work for it in map number 2. So I feel like, although it's not a surprise, we had some really good games, especially Maru versus Rogue. I think it was, what, game 1 or game 2? It was like one of the best TVZs we have seen in a while.
Yeah, that was a really nice one. So we've got our groups. Group A, Byun, Rogue, Cure, and Hero. That's going to be next week on Wednesday. Same time, same place. And then Group B, Classic, Raynor, Maru, and Gumiho.
Which one of these do you think is stronger? Because these both look like very dangerous groups,
I actually almost feel like they're pretty even.
Yeah.
Maybe Group B is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same way.
But, I mean...
It's hard to say because we haven't seen some players from the GSL qualifiers directly seeded into the round of 8, because after the initial qualifier for GSL, there was a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket. Decide who goes to the round of 12, who goes to the round of 8. So we actually don't know, you know, how good Hero is right now or how good Byun is right now. They're in round of 8 for certainly a reason, but we haven't seen them against Rogue, against Cure, against Maru, against these heavy hitters that we did in the round of 12. So It's tough to say, but I think I'm right there with you. Group B, especially with Rainer now finally advancing to the round of 8.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know, man. I'm just in a great mood. I'm so happy to be back here. We missed you guys. GSL will be wrapping next week, by the way. We're going to do those 2 groups. Then it's round of 4 in the finals on Friday.
Yeah.
So
it's a big part of the road to EWC. And
yeah.
EWC
we didn't have a lot of time.
It's right around the corner.
Right around the corner, yeah. So, yeah. Great day of games here. Too bad Trigger couldn't get further, but look, Season 2 is like right after we finish Season 1. So maybe he qualifies there, and we're right back to it. At the bottom of the screen is the ticket information, everybody. Buy the tickets. It seems like we didn't fill out today, but the closer we get to the finals, and the finals always sell out, by the way.
Yeah.
The finals, you cannot show up and just get in.
Yeah, tickets go on sale tomorrow. I think that said 4:30 p.m. KST, which is, I believe, exactly 19 hours from now. I don't want to do math on air, but get the tickets as soon as you can, guys.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.